Hey everybody, welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is Dilo and I am going to bring you guys a lot of news today. We're going to be doing everything you missed this week. This is the second segment we've done. If you missed the last one, I have got you an entire, I think it's almost a half an hour of content, but I have also broken it up into smaller bits. So if you guys just want a 2-minute segment on something or a 1-minute segment, 3-minute segment, you can have those per topic. So that's what we're going to do with this one too. I'm going to shoot for about a half an hour. We'll see how long it takes me, but I'm also going to give you guys each of these topically over the next week. So just be looking for those if you want the news coming up from everything you missed this last week. Now, I've got a lot to talk to you guys about, but let's go ahead and break into those right now. So, we have first up on the agenda today is Jason Momoa says Henry Cavill is absolutely not leaving the Superman role. This is really, really important because I had said a long time ago when that news came out, and I believe it was the Hollywood Reporter had reported that Henry Cavill was super busy. He was taking on the Witcher project, and there was also an announcement that Supergirl was going to be a movie they were going to make. So they deducted that because Henry Cavill was busy and taking new roles that were not part of DC, that he was suddenly out as Superman and we were never going to see him again. That was not the case. I was saying that for the longest time, and now we're having more and more reports that confirm the opposite of that, including previous reports from Henry Cavill's manager, and the heads over at Warner Brothers had made a statement. And also, now we're seeing this. So we're seeing here during a red carpet premiere of Aquaman Wednesday night, Jason Momoa asked Henry Cavill, or asked if Cavill was indeed leaving the franchise, and he quickly shut it down. Here's what he says, guys. I just talked to Henry, Momoa told ET. He's absolutely not leaving the character, meaning Superman. He loves the character. He's not 100%, meaning he is not leaving the character. He does not want to leave the role of Superman, and there's more to this. So we also see that, in fact, there is a little bit more to this story. I believe it was on, you see like funny memes and stuff. It says not today. But I wanted to show you guys something really, really cool. There was also let me see if I can get this. Henry Cavill Superman tweet. So you'll see this here. Motorcycle helmet. So here's some of the stuff from Henry Cavill. This is a news about him, not the actual Henry Cavill. But if we go to Henry Cavill, Henry Cavill's official Twitter, where did it go? I can't find it, but it's okay. You know what? You guys do the research. Comicbook.com has this referenced here. There's also a few of these other articles you can find. Lots of stuff you can check out here. Sorry for wasting your time on this search, but there are tweets from Henry Cavill that show him on his motorcycle with his helmet covered in comic art from Superman. It shows not only love and appreciation for the work that he's already done, but you compound that with his statements from his manager, statements from Warner Brothers, and statements from his co-stars like Jason Momoa saying, no, he's 100% not out of the role yet. And I think we can be very, very certain that he is not done in the role of Superman. So that's all that really is to say about that. I'm going to try to keep these to the headlines because I don't want to run your guys' time too long. So let's go on ahead to the next topic. Okay, so next up on the agenda, we have James Gunn's official cast for the Suicide Squad. Now, by my initial count, just looking at this, without having looked into all of the names, because I don't know all of the names off the top of my head, but what I did recognize was about, I think there was 4 returning names that I could recognize: Margot Robbie, Jai Courtney, Viola Davis, and Joel Kinnaman. There was also some special names on there like John Cena and Pete Davidson, which are really to me, those are like the biggest, whoa, they got these guys. not because they're like, oh, the biggest stars in Hollywood, but John Cena is a huge, very, very popular name you would not expect to be in a DC or Marvel film, probably. And also Pete Davidson, someone who is traditionally a comic, a comedian, who has been on Saturday Night Live, now getting a role in a superhero film, very likely as a supervillain. But it's okay. I'd like to see where that goes. I'm really excited about that. And also, there's a lot of Marvel alum names. So first of all, James Gunn comes out of Marvel, and now he's done Brightburn with Sony, and now he's back, or he's over in DC doing Suicide Squad 2, like I predicted. And Marvel's alums include Michael Rooker, Idris Elba, Taika Waititi, Sean Gunn, his brother, and Nathan Fillion. And if you guys don't know who they are in the Marvel Universe, look them up. You'll see their roles as well. But then there's also other names, okay? So there's Julio Ruiz, Daniela Melchior, Peter Capaldi, Jennifer Holland, Alice Braga, sorry for messing that name up, Alice Braga, Steve Agee, Tanashi Kajis, I don't know how to say that, Juan Diego Boto, Storm Reed, Flula Borg, Mei-Ling Ong, David Dastmalchian, and Joaquin Cosio. That's 24 names, guys, by my count, if I'm doing that correctly. And holy dang, that is a massive cast announcement. So he says here, don't get too attached, meaning that they could all die. Which is the fun part about Suicide Squad, is you get introduced to someone, blam, head gets blown up because they tried to run away. Or they got killed in the line of action, depending on who they're going after. A lot of people are speculating that some of these names on here might be well-known characters, some of them might be very, very deep cuts, and others might be incredible big bad villains, such as Vandal Savage, which would be really, really fun. So this is a fun tidbit. I'm going to leave that there and let you guys do a lot of the thinking for yourselves. Do some research and tell me who you think these names are going to play. And what do you guys think about the returning cast? What do you guys think about the Marvel alums coming over to DC? I want to know your thoughts. So go ahead and tell me those, and let's move on to the next topic. Next up, we have Disney Plus is bringing in, reportedly bringing in all of the 90s and 80s TV series that were cartoons from Marvel and bringing them remastered onto Disney Plus. This includes X-Men from 92, which is the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. You guys know what I'm talking about. X-Men 90s, Spider-Man 90s, Spider-Woman 79, which is a really old TV show, but nevertheless, really cool cartoon. I have not even seen that one, but you guys should definitely check it out. Respect the classics. Spider-Man 81, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, Iron Man 94, Fantastic Four in 94, Incredible Hulk, Silver Surfer, and Spider-Man Unlimited. What a massive, massive lineup of amazing TV shows. I've seen a lot of those TV shows, start to finish, but I didn't get a chance to see Spider-Woman. I didn't get a chance to finish the Fantastic Four. I've only seen a couple of episodes. And I have not finished The Incredible Hulk. So these are really, really fun series. I can't wait to get into. What do you guys think about this? This is an update, not from Disney Official, but from Disney Plus Updates. And it's an account that is pretty darn credible. They have a lot of success reporting something that then comes to be true for Disney Plus news. I'll show you guys really quickly what their lineup has shown. It shows a lot of like the stuff with the Lizzie McGuire, and then it shows some other stuff as far as the High School Musical. It talks about a lot of these other things it has predicted or shown casting news, directors and writers. It talks about the updates for Cloak and Dagger, Runaways, and where to find those. So this whoever this is claims to not be part of Disney Official. They say, I operate only as an update account. I don't work with Disney or any of the studios, and news shared will be provided with credit. I don't own any of my info or any of the info shared. So this person does a really good job of, like, if you click show this thread, oftentimes he'll say where he got the news or something like that. And it's pretty cool. I really like keeping up to date with this particular Twitter. It's not an official, but you guys can do the research, check it out for yourself. But this report has been going around the news everywhere. I just wanted to show you guys where I saw this originate from. So you guys let me know what you think about that. And next up, we have the next topic is Movie Pass. Movie Pass is at its end. It's getting ready to shut down, and I wanted to take you guys to the article. So from the Hollywood Reporter, it says Movie Pass is basically, it's all done. So it says the app once boasted several million subscribers at its peak, but shuffled through multiple pricing plans that faced several technical issues that stalled momentum. That is one way to put it. They never had a truly successful business model. They started by promising the entire world, and they got everyone's money in the first month, and they were able to make a killing before people started actually visiting the theaters after getting their card. So it was kind of a brilliant scheme at first, but it was destined to fail. They were forking out much more money than they were ever bringing in, and you can't sustain that as a business. All this to say, they are shutting down, and they put out this newsletter. Dear MoviePass subscribers, over the past several months, MoviePass worked hard to relaunch its groundbreaking subscription service and recapitalize the company. While we were able to relaunch the service for some of our subscribers with an improved technology platform, our efforts to recapitalize the company have not been successful to date. As a result, it pains us to inform you that effective at 8 a.m. Eastern Time on September 14th, 2019, which was 2 days ago, we must interrupt service for all current MoviePass subscribers. MoviePass will be providing subscribers with appropriate refunds for their period of service already paid for, and subscribers will need to request a refund or contact MoviePass customer service to receive a refund. Subscribers will not be charged during the service interruption. At this point, we are unable to predict if or when the MoviePass service will continue. And it goes on just to say, we're deeply sorry. We're not sure when it can come back. Love you guys. And that's from Mitch Lowe. I believe he's the owner of MoviePass. So this is basically a big farewell. MoviePass is shutting down. They tried to make it work. They tried to figure it out, and they couldn't. Of course, they couldn't. And yeah, that's it. So if you have a MoviePass card, and I did have MoviePass for a very long time, but I saw the writing on the wall. I stopped my subscription as soon as they first changed the plan without telling everybody. And then we heard about it in the news after. I was like, I'm not going to deal with this. Get my info off record. I don't want any part of this. And yeah, so now it's gone. So if you guys are MoviePass enjoyers, you might want to look into one of the other available movie subscription services, maybe an AMC Pass or something like that, Cinemark or something like that. Find your local theater and subscribe to that one, because those benefits will be probably the best deal you're going to get right now at this time. So that's what I'll end with here. But MoviePass, gone. Sayonara and good riddance. Next up, we have the Russo brothers saying Sony made a tragic mistake removing Spider-Man from the MCU, says Joe Russo. So this is kind of like putting salt in a wound right now. This is Marvel and Joe and Anthony Russo kind of just, like, I guess, sticking up for Kevin Feige in this, because they need to put some sort of a spin on the news to make sure they don't look like 100% the bad guys. Even though, if you guys have followed what I've had to say about the subject, I do personally believe that this was almost entirely Disney's making. The whole split was Disney's fault. And I'm not a Disney basher, guys, but this deal was definitely Disney's fault. The split was all Disney. But you look here, I've already talked about that, so I won't go into details there. You guys can message me or DM me if you want to hear about my take on that. But here's what is said, okay? So let's go down straight to this. It says here, it was a tenuous, fraught union throughout the whole process. But I will say, stepping back and trying to be objective as possible, I think it's a tragic mistake on Sony's part to think that they can replicate Kevin's penchant for telling incredible stories and the amazing success he has had over the years. I think it's a big mistake. So this is really interesting, because they're basically saying that, look, Sony, don't be a fool. Like, we know you can make movies, but there's no way you can make movies at the same level as Kevin Feige. Now, I will agree. I think that Kevin Feige is the master of storytelling and interconnecting crazy, ridiculous storylines into one big narrative. He is the best. There is no other producer on earth that is like him. No one that can compete. He is the top, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. But in this situation, I think that they're just continuing to rub it into Sony, just saying like, look, guys, we don't really have as much faith in you, and I think you shouldn't have as much faith in you as well. Which maybe it's necessary. Maybe they need to say things like this. Maybe they should keep their mouths a little bit more shut on this topic. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Perhaps this is part of a play for some sort of leverage. Maybe they're trying to turn the public back on Sony. Who knows? But I do think that this was an unnecessary comment. Love the Russos to death. I hope they come back to Marvel. I hope they keep making Marvel films. Maybe get involved with the Marvel TV over at Disney Plus. I would love to have them more involved because they've done nothing but gold ever since they joined. But this to me seems a little bit unnecessary, and maybe just like it's like a public spin on what's going on, because they're saying facts, but they don't need to say those facts. I think. Maybe it's because probably they were asked, but it says here, Anthony Russo also opened up to the Toronto Sun about just how difficult it is to get Spider-Man into the MCU in the first place, which is why the pair aren't surprised that Sony and Disney's deal has now come to an end. And it goes on to say, it was so difficult to get him into Civil War. It was an extremely long and hard process, but we were driven to make it happen. Kevin Feige pulled it off somehow. Disney and all the good people at Sony found a way to make it work, and it lasted a few films. We had a wonderful experience with that, and I think audiences really appreciated that marriage, but we know how hard that marriage was to make in the first place, so the fact that the marriage fell apart isn't really that surprising to me and Joe. So this is just them saying that, look, it was really difficult to make it happen in the first place, so it couldn't have lasted forever. And then also saying, I think that Sony backing out of the deal is a huge mistake. So what do you guys think about these comments? Let me know what you have to say about them down below. Who is to blame? Is this really Disney's fault? Is Sony making a big mistake, or is this Disney making a big mistake with strong arming someone that has worked very nicely with them over the last few years? Let me know down in the comments what you guys have to say about that. And let's go to the next topic. The next topic is Taika Waititi, and he talks about Chris Hemsworth being the forefront of Thor 4 Love and Thunder. Now, this is interesting because when they came out at Comic-Con, the big reveal was that the movie was going to be focusing around Jane Foster and female Thor, and it was going to be the Mighty Thor. For those of you guys who are fans of Jane Foster's Thor, her name in the comics was the Mighty Thor, which a lot of people have problems with. A lot of fans, even myself, I don't like the fact that they call her Mighty Thor, because you don't call Bucky or Sam Wilson taking the mantle of Captain America, you don't call them the Mighty Steve Rogers. You don't call them the Captain Steve Rogers. You call them Captain James Buchanan Barnes. Thor is Thor Odin's son. That's his actual name. Steve Rogers is Captain America's actual name. Thor is not the mantle, Thor is the name. So I suppose God of Thunder would be his mantle name, his title name that you could pass down to Jane Foster. You could make her the god of perhaps thunder, or god of hammers, as Odin says Thor is not. But, that's just one of those things. Now, a lot of people were weirded out by the fact that it was going to be it was going to deviate so far from Chris Hemsworth, being that the movie's still called Thor. So there was a comment made. Let's get to the meat of this. Taika Waititi confirms that Chris Hemsworth will be at the forefront of Love and Thunder alongside Natalie Portman's Lady Thor. But when it came to more details on Thor and Suicide Squad, he was tight-lipped. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can add this in. Let me see if I can get an audio input capture here. And let me see. I'll get. Let me see if I can get this, guys. Sorry about that. I want to add in media source, display capture, color. Okay. Let's see if we can get this going here.
Oh, yeah.
What?
I said, oh, yeah. That's New Zealand for, oh, yeah.
You have to clear that with the friends at Marvel. Do they care that you're double dipping into the comic book universe on the other side of the pond?
Didn't know until now, mate.
Sorry about that.
Here we go.
It's gonna get awkward.
Watch this.
I don't know. I don't know what's
So
going on.
first he talks about Sam Rockwell.
Other than,
Yes, you do. You're a liar. You're lying to me right now, Taika. No, what?
So watch, it's gonna load right here.
Going on for you? How's the Love and Thunder script? Where are we at?
page 7.
You got some work to do, buddy.
You got Taika Waititi on the far right. That's the director of Thor.
Is
Ragnarok?
there room for Justin Hammer in the Thor Love and Thunder?
He's an arms dealer.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know who he is. Everything and anything is possible in Marvel.
All right, check this out. He's about to ask, who's the star of Thor: Love and Thunder?
Who's the star of Thor: Love and Thunder? Like, who is it? Is it Natalie? Is it Chris? Is it
It's
what?
Chris. It's a Thor film. He is Thor. It's
Okay.
a Thor film. She's in it.
It's Chris. It's a Thor film. It's Thor. He's Thor. She's in it. So that is important. So what he's saying here is that the movie is not about Lady Thor. The movie's not about the Mighty Thor. The Mighty Thor will very likely make an appearance, come in at the end or something. The movie's about Chris Hemsworth. The movie's still about Thor. And I think that's reassuring because it feels very often like if you have an Iron Man movie where Iron Man is no longer the focus, that becomes scary for fans. And a lot of fans are so tied in with the main character, the main person. If you have a movie that's still called the name of the main person, and then you take that away, you take that person out of the picture, it's really hard to do. You know, it's really hard to do that. But in the case of Thor, Thor is his actual name. That's Thor. Thor is Thor. Thor Odin's son is Thor. But you can have someone that wields the power of a god, a Norse god, take his place on the team. You can do that, but they're still calling him Thor. So a lot of people were just like, what's going to happen? What's happening? Is it Lady Thor? And Taika Waititi says, no, it's still a Thor film. It's Chris Hemsworth. He's the main character. He's the main actor. He's getting paid the big bucks. He's the dude. He's Thor. It's about Thor, but it's about Thor: Love and Thunder. And we don't know what that's going to look like just yet. So hold the speculations a little bit. Keep it, keep the reins on there. And don't let your imaginations run so wild that you maybe panic and just say, hey, you know what? I'm not really that interested in the film before the trailer comes out because we don't really know what it's going to look like exactly just yet. Although they have teased greatly Natalie Portman's Thor. So who knows? We'll see what's going to happen, but it looks like the emphasis is still on Chris Hemsworth. And I'll leave that there because that one's taking a little bit more time than I wanted it to. Next up, we have Robert Downey Jr. is getting a cameo in Black Widow revealed. Now, I want to point out that this news source is from We Got This Covered. They are known for claiming quite a bit about this is what's going to happen, or spoilers, or Insider just said this, or we just got the inside scoop on that, and we know what's going to happen in Phase 4, Phase 5, and all this stuff, and it probably 95% of it never pans out or gets close. So I want to leave you guys with a grain of salt. Okay? In fact, take 2. Take 2 grains of salt from this. This is a report, but they're saying revealed. They're saying it is revealed. They're saying it's 100% kosher. Although I don't see where in their site, in their sort, or I don't see any sources, I don't see any sightings. They just claim it. So whenever you see this source, We Got This Covered, claiming something, and there's no linked source, no linked article to take you back to a more credible source, you gotta just say, we still don't know. You know what I mean? It'd be fun, it'd be great, but let's just take this with a grain of salt, and let's take a look at what is going on here. So with We Got This Covered, they say, Avengers fans unite. We have some good news and some bad news about Robert Downey Jr.'s rumored cameo. Rumored, not factual, in the upcoming Black Widow movie. It says, firstly, it's no longer a rumor, is what they say. They say it's no longer a rumor, and he'll indeed show up in a Phase 4 movie. But as it turns out, it'll once again be recycled footage a la Spider-Man Far From Home. What this means is that it's a scene or a clip or a footage of shot film from a previous MCU movie that never made air, or that they planned to have done for a future film, that will be put into the Black Widow film, is what they're saying. The long and short of it there. Fortunately, it says here, and skip all this blah blah blah. It'll say, apparently the footage in Scarlett Johansson's solo outing will be a deleted scene taken from Captain America Civil War. It'll be the one where Tony tells Natasha to run, which is what sends her to go into hiding with Steve Rogers and the rest of the Secret Avengers. And this is what they're saying here. So it'll be a scene that's already been put on film, but just not used or seen by audiences yet. And while this is yet to be confirmed by Marvel, you see, this is what bothers me about this website. It says while it's not yet to be confirmed, and then up here it says it's no longer a rumor. Like, what? It's not confirmed, but it's not a rumor? Like, how in the world do you know it's not a rumor? And then they say here, multiple sources close to us, WGTC, have backed up comicbook.com's initial report. So it looks like this is what we're going to end up getting in this movie. So again, their piece is speculation, but they're claiming it's not a rumor. See what I mean? So whenever we got this covered, you got to just be like, hey man, we can't take your word for it. All right. So we can talk about it, but I've seen this report going around. Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in Marvel Phase 4. Robert Downey Jr. is in the Black Widow movie. Well, kind of, if this rumor is true. So just take that with a grain of salt, guys. And I won't go too much further on that. I think we've spent more time than this thing deserves. But let's go to the next one, all right? The next one's a big one. The next one is Kevin Feige's post-credit scene reveals plans for X-Men and Spider-Man in the MCU way back as far as 2008, guys. So I have made videos about mutants being in the MCU already. They are already in the MCU, and I have proved it. I have verified this myself. I've done the research. I've shown you guys the footage, the video clips, the images throughout the MCU, and this is something that I'm very proud of. But if you haven't seen that, the long and short of it is that from day one, I have been saying they have been planning mutants all along. Even though they didn't have the rights to do so legally, they have been just prepping and planning. Well, this scene right here, this end credit scene, this post credit scene from Iron Man 1 was an alternate version of the end credit scene we did get. And in this one, you can hear Samuel L. Jackson's lines were referencing mutants directly, not miracles, but mutants, which are the same thing, but you have to make that distinction legally. And then radioactive bug bites, which refers to Spider-Man. And this is 2008, which meant they were talking about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and the Hugh Jackman X-Men verse. So let's go ahead and take a look
have a vault.
At this.
Have a vault. And we pulled some things out of that vault that we said, we'll never show this to anybody. Put it away. We're bringing them out. We're putting them on this disc. And I'm about to show you a deleted scene that has never been seen by anyone before right now. Thank you again so much, and enjoy.
Listen up.
As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough. I have to deal with a spoiled brat who doesn't play well with others and wants to keep all his toys to himself.
Who the hell are you?
Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
Well, what are we avenging?
Whatever the hell we want. Gamma accidents, radioactive...
Check this out.
As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough.
Did you hear that? As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough. He references Hulk, Spider-Man, and mutant kind in general. That's freaking amazing. And this was 2008, And I want to call someone out here. John Campea, I'm a huge fan. I listen to him all the time. I watch all of his YouTube videos. I am constantly in the loop with the guy. I disagree with him a lot, but I do listen to him all the time. He's very reliable. But he has this thing always annoyed me so much, was that he would always, whenever the topic came up about mutants in the MCU, he would go, nope, there's no mutants. There's no such thing. Mutants are not in the MCU. There's miracles, but those are not at all the same. And Wanda and Pietro, no, they're not mutants. They were never mutants. They can't be mutants because legally they can't be mutants. No. They are mutants. They are in fact mutants. They always have been mutants. The MCU planned them to be mutants. Kevin Feige wants them to be mutants, but they couldn't legally say mutants. So what they did was they had the bad guy, the Hydra scientist, call them miracles because they were obsessed with their power. They wanted to weaponize them and use them as weapons, which they did in the MCU. To them, they were miracles, and they did not have to use the words mutants. That's how they got around it legally. It's called loopholes, people. And John Campea was dead wrong about that from day one, and this footage proves it. Kevin Feige had that plan from day one, from Iron Man 1. He planned mutants with the word mutants to be in the MCU if they could make that happen one day. They had Spider-Man in mind. They had all the including the Hulk. You'll note that those are 3 of the main franchises that they cannot use on their own. Hulk is Universal. They need to team up with Universal to get the Hulk into the MCU. They had one movie, and ever since then, he's only been someone that is in collaborative other films because they don't want to lose money, and neither does Universal. They have this weird agreement. So they can't keep making Hulk films. They can only put him in the Avengers films, put him in Thor Ragnarok. They can't make Hulk films. And so Hulk, Spider-Man, and the X-Men were the 3 golden franchises that they couldn't touch. And so that's what they did there, is they planned this from day one. This is footage from 2008 or 7 because it's before the movie came out. So yeah, from Kevin Feige's mouth, boom, called it. And that's the last topic I wanted to talk about. Before we close out, guys, tell me what you think about this down below. Do you believe me now? Do you want to go watch my MCU X-Men Explained video, Mutants in the MCU Explained, that theory video I made for you guys? Check it out if you haven't already. Shameless plug. Also, let me take some comments from the live before we close out. Fancast Forever says, hello, what's up, my dude? He also says, I love these videos, by the way. Andrew Beacom 100 says, hello. And then Fancast says, hi, Andrew. They have a quick conversation and says, I wish Will Smith was in this. Fancast, meaning Suicide Squad. Yes, I agree. I wish Will Smith would come back as Deadshot. I really liked him. But I still think my favorite Deadshot was the Deadshot that was on Arrow in the early seasons. Man, that was Michael, I can't remember what his last name is, but Michael Rowe. That's what it is. Michael Rowe. Michael Rowe was fantastic as Deadshot on Arrow. I really liked that. And I was sad that the old Warner Brothers had that policy where you couldn't have 2 of the same hero existing at the same time. So like when they had him there and they knew they were going to make Suicide Squad, they canned all of the CW's Suicide Squad members, including like Bronze Tiger. They kicked him off the show for a bit, and then they allowed the Suicide Squad movie to take those characters. They thought that them competing was going to divide the fans. No way, dude. This is comic books, dude. You can have a billion different versions of the same character and everyone's going to buy it. They'll buy the t-shirts, you know what I mean? So, but thank God for Walter Hamada, who now has since said, no, go nuts. As many characters as you want, you can duplicate, you can do universes, Crisis on Infinite Earths, you can have a billion of the same character if you want. Go for it. Go bananas. And that's why we have Cyborg in the DCEU with Ray Fisher, and then Cyborg, the kid, was it Jovian Wade, if I'm remembering his name, on Doom Patrol. So you can have multiple of those guys thanks to Walter Hamada. And so next on the comments we have, don't have Twitter. Is there an Instagram account for Disney Plus update? I don't know if there's a Disney Plus update Instagram account. There probably is. Most of the time when you find these news sources, they do multiple pages, but I don't know that to be a fact. So I do know that he has a Twitter. It's a fun account. He doesn't stick to strictly like superhero stuff. He does all Disney Plus updates, but that's pretty cool because then you can stay in the loop with everything. So next up, Andrew Become says, when is your next fan casting summit? That is a very good question, guys. And this will be the last question that I take is the fan casting summit number 7 has been slightly postponed because it was spoilers for that event. It's a Spider-Man event, and the whole MCU fallout has kind of put a delay on the video that we were making. It's a massive project, so I had to go back and rework a couple of things, rework some of my designs, and re-record some stuff. So I had planned for it to be MCU, and you know what? Now it's not going to be able to be MCU. It's going to have to be Sony verse. But thank God it's still Tom Holland. It's still the same appropriate age ranges, and it doesn't mess really with the castings, unless you want to, I don't know, base it off of some other factor other than it being Tom Holland, the age, and the existing stories that we know from the Sony movies like Homecoming and Far From Home, because those are Sony films. That is Sony canon. Even though it is MCU canon, it's Sony canon. Sony doesn't have to deviate from Homecoming and Far From Home. They just can't use 60% of the characters, which sucks. But that's just what it is. So I kind of had to rework a few things, and I'm still working on that project. So it's going to be a little bit, guys, but bear with me because that news dropped as soon as I got like all the images and everything in from everybody. So yeah, big project, taking a while, and I've launched my merch store, so that's been taking up some time as well. Yeah, just a lot of schedule conflicts going on all at once. I apologize for the delay, but it should be coming out. And I knew I said I was going to try to do it this month. I think it's going to have to happen maybe in the early part of next month because it's a big project. But I appreciate your guys' patience. I appreciate the enthusiasm, and I have your guys' images. So it's still going to happen 100%. That will be the next fan casting project I do. So thank you guys very much. Now, lastly, before we close out, if you guys hadn't already seen my merch store, I've got a lot of cool designs. A couple of my logos, the Stuff of Legend and Phantom Much Fiction. I also have a ton of Power Rangers designs from a bunch of different generations of Power Rangers. A lot of really cool, like Ninja Storm, Time Force, Dino Thunder. You find like Zeo, Mighty Morphin, Super Mega Force, a lot, and the new 2017 Power Rangers movie. Lots of fun things, and also I've gotten a lot of Batman designs in because I like to celebrate and ask the question, who is your Batman? Who is the Batman that you recognize as your Batman? Is it one from the 80s? Is it one from the 40s? Is it one from Saturday Night Live? Is it one from a YouTube channel? What is your favorite Batman? And I've got a bunch of merch lines to celebrate those if you guys want to rock your favorite Batman. Because I'm a big Batman fan. I really love almost every single one of the Batman iterations. In fact, I can't think of one I don't have fond feelings for. Some, obviously, I like way more than others. But that being said, I got lots of respect for even the ones that are not particularly my cup of tea. So you guys, let me know which one your favorite Batman is down below. And what's your favorite Power Ranger? What's your favorite Power Ranger series? I want to know those things as well. Tons of other things as well. Fan casting shirts like the Fan Casting Summit, and then the checklist. Also Funko Pops. I've got only one shirt for that now, but I've got plenty of designs on the way, as well as Star Wars, Help Me Dave Filoni, You're My Only Hope, and DC Bat Fan t-shirt, which I'm really excited for. I did create that one myself. It's not super like, oh wow, how'd you do that? It's really simple, but it is effective. So you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys next time right here on The Stuff of Legend.